Hello everyone, this video is going to tell you how to write a conclusion for your IJAS research paper. Note that this video pertains solely to experimental investigations, so if you did a design project, you should stop watching this video and find the design project conclusion video and use that instead to make your conclusion, because there are some fundamental differences between the two types of projects and the conclusions that you need to write, and you have to make sure you do the right one. So first, let's break up the conclusion. There are certain sections that each conclusion needs to have, and the first one is that you need to restate your hypothesis. So this is basically just putting into different words what you said earlier in your discussion paper about what you think would happen when you conduct your experiment, how the result would be. So a tip is that the hypothesis should be the first part of your conclusion. All the results and everything else in the conclusion should come after that. Also keep in mind that from the beginning, the entire conclusion must be in a third person point of view. So you should not be using pronouns like I, we, my, etc. It should all be in third person. Once you've restated your hypothesis, you can go on and say whether your hypothesis was supported or not supported. So here we have an example of the experimenter describing whether their hypothesis was supported or not supported by the research. And this initial declaration should be explained with 2 to 3 detailed paragraphs, and it preferably should include a quotation that is cited properly from your background research to scientifically substantiate your findings. Please note that when you use a quotation, it should be cited properly, both in text and at the end of your paper in the reference list in APA format. Also, when you're writing this section, please note that you should use terms such as your hypothesis was supported or not supported. You should not say your hypothesis was right or wrong or correct or incorrect, because those are too absolute, and based on how science works, there's a chance that someone could do a similar experiment and then get a completely different result. And it doesn't mean that either one experiment is wrong. But because that can happen, be sure to use words like supported or not supported and not right or wrong. The next thing is that you should describe what you could do differently with this exact experiment if you had the opportunity to redo it. So you could change factors such as, in this case, the experimenter changed the age of the population to have an older population undergoing the experiment to see if the age has an impact on the data. And you should definitely write this in your paper and allow and include it in your presentation so that you can let the judges know what you would like to change. And yeah, this is basically what you would make different, which is not the same as the next section, which is how you would expand your experiment. Expanding your experiment in this case, like the experimenter said, could be using more types of exercises or increasing the number of test subjects. Remember that expanding is making something bigger or adding things, while if we go back here, doing something differently is just changing them. So please note this is an important difference which you should not forget. After this, you should expand the results of your conclusion to the context of the world and the communities around you, to basically say, why is this important? Why does it matter? What's it going to do for the world? How's it going to make life better? So here we have an example of the experimenter describing how it could have an impact in schools and describe how their curriculums should be made in order to better improve learning. So a tip is that the best experiments serve as a purpose and way to help the world. So this may seem not very significant, but it is very important, and you should definitely add it to conclude your entire experiment. It makes your experiment much stronger, and it gives it a purpose, which is really, really important. And one more thing. This was mentioned earlier, but you have to include the scientific reason behind why the results happened. This is very important. It'll form the bulk of your conclusion, and it is really, really important that you do not forget these and that these have a lot of detail and quotations and that they use science to support your results. Here is a full example of a written conclusion. Well, it's not full, it includes the main components, but it is a much shorter version. On average, a conclusion it should be around 1 page or longer. It'll vary from project to project. Sometimes it could become multiple pages, but here's just an example. It includes the basic elements of a conclusion that all conclusions should have. Also, please know that this presentation and this conclusion are for instruction only and do not plagiarize any of the examples or the projects themselves. This should just be used to guide the format of your conclusion. And if you'd like to look at this, you can go ahead and pause the video. All right, this is the end of the video explaining how to write a conclusion for an experimental investigation. And again, if you have a design investigation, do not use the instructions from this video. Instead, go and find the design video instead. Thank you.